I think getting you to essentially get into a hinge and maintain hip hinge and limit your pelvis from like opening early throughout the delivery due to this descending move, instead of descending and going this way and having your body kind of pull this way. If we can get you to then think about like putting your butt either back or just putting more force with your heel and then peeling it off later, we can snap that into the rotation. Basically what you're doing is I use the word delay, but I don't really like to. You never really want to delay rotation, maybe with your upper half, but not your lower half. But you do want to keep that pelvis as neutral as possible, until we can snap it. Right, you're building energy throughout the entire drive phase. So there's a couple things, like I said, we can look at in terms of how your ankle is kind of structured, and how your movement capacity is for hinging at the hips rather than getting you going this way. So hopefully that makes sense, dude. Like, obviously you have a super strong arm. There's definitely more, in my personal opinion, to be had if we can just A, put more force into the ground, and B, get a little bit more linear direction via, staying connected with the heel, driving more linear, delay, and then last second peels, right? So the heel comes up or the ankle everts, hand flips up. Like, you guys are so similar, right? At the end of this delivery, very similar, but now you can see as his trunk pulls his arm through, it's going towards his desired target, where you kind of get into this pattern of getting really rotational here. You can even see it with that foot. It's going to even peel off almost like you're kind of not even clearing your hips fully.
Do that thing we were talking about in the pen, like over amplify a sense of sensation that gets you from this position to load to me, like whatever that is for you. And then once we like get something going there from like the preset, we'll scoot back and we'll get there in a shuffle. Tilt the foot. Yeah, babe. To me. Uh-huh. Uno, I'm gonna get my catcher's mitt. When you feel ready, scoot back to like 90. Back up, Johnny. Go into a shuffle. I don't know how you do your shuffles, but something that gives you your feet, hands kind of move together, and just think rip down on the seam. So it's like a direction thing. Your body thinks direction. To get to me, it goes this way. I mean, I don't know what the cue for you in terms of what that would be.
You're saying like there, I went like that way?
So your shuffle, like your linear shuffle to me, is starting to go this way because that's what your body or your brain is perceiving as the direction to accomplish it. Yes. Yeah. I don't know what that is for you, but that one was a lot better than the other one. The other one faded. That one kind of rose into me. Here's the tough part, dude. Like, you don't really quite know what is what because of the amount of reps you have going like in a misdirection, right? So the only thing that I've seen is the ball is going to be a little bit different coming out because you have more like behind it. So actually, I would say come in a little bit. And what I want you to do, we'll turn this into a shuffle as well, but we want to just, as many like good repetitions as we have, we want to do those ones, right? So for this one, step back, load your hip, drive to me. Because the ones where you preset everything, your direction descending from leg lift is like money, right? So as soon as we start to incorporate more space, that's where you have more like room for air. So if we can get you now to like create a sensation for loading the hip, and then after loading to drive linear, that's the goal. Yeah, it doesn't have to be like a hop, but just something that like step back. Yeah, so then you can kind of externally like stabilize your drive leg. And then from there, go. And think about like really loading. Yes. Get a little bit more space when you step back. So when you cover more space, you're gonna bend your knees. I kind of want you to, as soon as you step back, you're already like kind of in a loading position, because right now you're going here and then you're like, oh, now I load. I kind of want the load to happen in unison with your step back. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Now we build off that rep. Good. Okay, now I want you to take whatever sensation that was giving you and just go right into that leg lift. So if you want, you can get into another preset thing, or I'm trying to tease these movements together, right? For your body to connect to them. But those last three where you really loaded, the ball is now then taking off. Whereas the other ones, obviously the distance was a little bit different. The other ones had like that initial jump, but then that fade, which again, like the pitch itself, is pretty good, but like I want to train jump here. Yes. Okay, so now blend them. So blend a 2-part blend. Go, step back, load, step back, load. To me, no words, toss you the ball. Now you go leg lift, boom. Yes. All right, you're done. Not really, just started over there. I know the step back sensation externally is gonna provide you with the feedback of like, oh, I'm loading. Yeah. Right? Because obviously, like if you go to step on a scale and you go into your momentum, you're gonna have the scale go heavier, right? So the goal is to like, how can we do enough progressions or whatever that provide you with these motor patterns without having to get your mind too much involved to like, get all these different types of mechanical cues. That's what I do a really bad job of, is I get too many like cues and I freaking move like a robot. So like, that's why I like to blend stuff. So you create a pretty good motor pattern with the step back, the load, because as soon as you loaded, you stuck your load, you held load longer, right? And then your ball, as soon as you went into your release, was, to me, spinning way more true and riding. You were given an opportunity to ride because I think you were on time and you were releasing your energy to me. Yeah. Instead of the first few where you were kind of just going out of a leg lift, it just looked like as soon as you went into your perceived load, it was going this way. And then when you would go around it, you were having to, like what I said in the video, where you're now having to like kind of catch back up as spinning off. And that's where you were getting like, here's the thing, you're getting a lot of movement on your pitch. So it's like, it's tough, right? Because it's like, it's probably gonna get an out, if you throw it at the bottom of the zone. But I would always say like, train like powerful. Because that's going to become then effortless power, and it's going to become that effortless, I'm not even trying 92, So, because as soon as I said the blend, like your body just organized, just wanted to go into it. And that's kind of the biggest thing. I'll start like, even in the bullpen, when you start your throws, like find something, a movement that gives you a sense of like, okay, that's the load, that particular load is giving me better direction, and then the goal for you would be to just like from your own personal feedback is to identify which things are giving you the window of opportunity we want, and kind of being a little bit mindful of like how the guy's catching it too, right? Like that's something I take note of, like when I'm doing my pull downs, is like I want the ball to continue to like rise. And another thing that I really liked when you started to load, when you were doing the step backs, was that you didn't think about really having to over aggressively rotate to create energy, because there's already all of this stored energy you have in this, that now it just snaps, and now you're just like, oh, hey, we're here, it's gonna go there, boom, now my head stays a little bit more quiet. I can tell when you were trying to force a little bit, because you got to a position in which you thought you had to, boom, like really aggressively go. And I think that's just an unauthentic way of like throwing hard, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's tough because if you were like, you know, a 16-year-old kid, I'd be like, hey, we're probably gonna not do pull downs, shuffle pull downs for like 2 weeks, because we need to retrain your body what linear direction is. Yeah, because all that's gonna do really is just start to tell your upper half to need to spin off, because you're kind of compensating to catch back up, you know. You got good feedback on that?
Yeah. I like that. I like the way it felt, like, because it's just like you said, it allows the arm to be a little bit more freer. Instead of working at harder to create the energy.
And that's what it looks like too. Like, I mean, kind of knowing what to look for. That's one thing too, is like I kind of see the types of guys that really have to generate a lot here. Those are going to be the guys that, you know, are going to pitch and then de-sore for 2, maybe can't throw, whatever. It's like, okay, well, can we sequence in a way that allows for this to just work with the rest of the unit?
Absolutely.
But yeah, dude, those last few were like, I thought really, in terms of the ball, I love looking at the ball, the way it spins, you know, because your first few had a little bit of like wrinklage in it, you know, and that, I mean, that wrinklage was kind of influencing the late drop, but then the last 3 that you threw when you started blending step backs it was cue ball, it was 612, and that 612 spins influencing the way it cuts through gravity to freaking keep going, dude. Right? I mean, how dope would it be to have freaking both? Right? Like, all right, I'm gonna get super counter rotative and then freaking sink this one. Okay, this one I'm just gonna freaking
stay right back there and throw it.
That's crazy, yeah.